So we're figuring out how we get some.
Good. How'd the hockey go this weekend?
Oh my gosh, they didn't win, but they had such a nice event.
What are you guys doing? Oh, I'm glad you're having so much fun. Isn't Dennis here tonight?
Oh, it was so sweet.
You may be a few minutes late.
Played like with this one.
Gee, that's just terrible
Wow.
that you guys might, well, I guess it's you that gets the second.
It's just, you know, it's just
You, isn't it? Yep, says Kernan.
Yeah,
He
that's
lots
probably
last.
The chair
a little bittersweet for him.
just runs the meeting.
Yeah, I noticed.
You know, people
It's hard not to.
kinda lost that little nuance to the meetings for
I didn't
quite a
even know
while, and it's like
That's good.
not through the schools.
I'm kind of an old school.
There's a gentleman that's
It's me, you know. It's like
Old school. That the vice
Right.
president did.
You can't just give them to somebody. So I just have to turn them in.
Yeah, I remember that. So
At the end of April for take to the fire station.
and then you kind of went back to his ways of removing yourself out. Yeah, you decided somebody else needed to be in that seat, in the hot seat. Thank you very much.
why, you're welcome.
Then I get no responses from my emails, and I'm sitting there, somebody better answer me.
IT guys in so I can
That was no small task. We had,
Shannon was saying the same thing.
I was up late last night going over.
Yes, I don't have to worry about it because I don't do that.
I got every dime of the app onto this phone because it was on my last phone. My problem is I can't figure out. Pardon me? You have Outlook on your. So on my work phone, so I'm not sure how to.
Well, I can't help you. I don't do any of that stuff. And I don't want to start.
Oh, I see.
You don't choose.
Oh, yeah. You never know. Right.
And then what you have to do.
What happened at the ball game?
Well, they didn't get the semi-finalists, but they're playing tonight in the state championship.
Oh,
But
Is you go to mailbox
I meant to ask earlier, and
and then underneath your
did it?
it was really,
different
That's great.
it was a nice way for him to end his senior year.
Yeah.
Hey, when we get done, send me the MP3.
We good?
Tonight. Okay.
I call the regular council meeting for Norton City Council to order for Monday, February 11th, 2019. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
I didn't
Clerk,
either.
call the roll, please.
Mr. Gaynor?
Here.
Mr. McClone?
He is going to be a little bit late tonight.
Mr. Carrot?
Here.
Mr. Towsley?
Here.
Ms. Whipke?
Here?
Mr. Pelot?
Here.
Mr. Kernan?
Here. Under communications from the public, Kevin Kearns. Yes, please just come on up to the microphone, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Kevin Kearns, Golf Course Drive. I just was wondering if somebody could answer a few questions for me, maybe
I'm under the understanding that the golf course was sold or being sold, the golf course. And I know you guys are aware of it, so somebody might as well answer yes or no.
That's what I've heard.
We don't know for
I
sure.
don't know for sure.
It's up for sale.
I know it's up for sale.
Do you know of anybody's intentions of what they're planning on doing?
No. I haven't heard anything on what somebody may or may not be intending to do, or if there's even a final deal worked out to buy it or anything like that.
Thank you.
They're not required to tell us when they sell their property or when somebody buys it. But, well, I'm just pointing out, so,
Just asked you if you knew anything,
No.
what's going on, that's all.
no, I don't know if they have, like Mr. Pelot said, I don't know that they have sold it to anybody, if it's still for sale or whatnot. I just hear the same rumors you guys hear.
I think it's awful funny, everybody knows the contractor that's buying the place, and stuff like that, but you guys know nothing. That amazes me.
Maybe it's just somebody that knows them that said something to somebody else, but nothing's been brought to our attention that I'm aware of.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
All right, we'll move on to Committee of the Whole, reports from standing committees. Are there any reports from any of the standing committees?
Yes, Mr.
All right,
President.
thank you, Ms. Whipke.
Ordinance number 19, 2019.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out the title dollar amount does not match the ordinance language or the actual exhibit. That we have it as $17,395 in the title, and it should actually read $18,125 as it says during the actual ordinance. So our clerk's already made that change so that we have that before us tonight correctly.
Right, and just to be clear, that is what we discussed in Committee of the Whole. That's what's in the body of the ordinance. And since it was just a typographical error in the title, I don't think that makes much difference other than just to go ahead and correct it, so.
And we haven't had a reading on it. The first reading's tonight.
Right, thank you. Anything else?
Well, it's not mine, but ordinance 10.
If you would like to address Ordinance 10 at this time, that's fine.
Okay. Ordinance 10, 2019, it actually went out with wrong Exhibit A. And what we're actually looking at tonight as for a reading is the Exhibit A out of the February 4th Council's agenda. So the February 4th agenda, Exhibit A, is what's actually in front of Council tonight for a vote.
Right, and I think that I had instructed earlier, I instructed the Clerk of Council to go ahead and send out an Ordinance 10 with that original Exhibit A attached to it. That's what we had talked about in Committee of the Whole, and that's what we're going to be moving on tonight. So just to clear that up.
Could I clarify just a little?
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Towesley?
Just for the public, all this is this exhibit will then go to the Planning Commission, and it's subject to change by their recommendations, and then it will return to us.
Correct, yes. Anything else under Committee of the Whole? I'd like to acknowledge receipt of the January 2019 budget reports then under Committee of the Whole. Then moving on to consideration of the minutes of the regular council meeting of January 28, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those? Those minutes will be accepted as submitted. Moving on to the minutes of committee work session of February 4th, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those?
Yes, Mr. President.
Ms. Whipke?
There's a typo on page 3 of 10, the last paragraph in relation to Ordinance 11, 2019. Line 7 should actually read, go north on Easton to 261 and not Eastern.
Okay, so the word Eastern would be changed to Easton.
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Fowler was quite clear when he said Easton, but
All right. All in favor of making that change to the minutes, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that change will be made. Are there any other deletions, additions, or corrections? Then those minutes will be accepted as they have been amended. Reports from officers, boards, and commissions. Mr. Markey?
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, Mr. Messner?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, we have public hearings at 7:15. We have a little bit of time, so I think we're going to move on to introduction of new legislation, ordinance number 10, 2019. Mr. Gaynor?
Yes, this is the new zoning recommendation for the new zoning. We're just moving to have it sent to planning, and then it will come back for us for the final vote on it.
Okay. And then did you want to go ahead and introduce that?
Yes, I do.
If
And
you want to
we're
go ahead and ask
No,
ask
you
the-
have to offer it to the clerk for its
Okay,
first
all right.
reading.
For the first reading, and have the clerk read it, please.
An ordinance to initiate the amendment of the zoning code to implement the C1 zoning classification.
And then were you going to move to waive the second and third readings?
Yes.
I have a motion to waive the second and third readings. Is
I'll
there a
second.
Okay. And a second. Is there any discussion regarding waiver only? Would the clerk call the roll, please, on the waiver?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Yes, I move to adopt 10, 2019, please.
No, second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 10, 2019. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 11, 2019. Ms. Whipke?
Well, that came up fast. I introduce ordinance 11, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with Engineering Associates Incorporated for professional engineering services in connection with the design of water line improvements in the city.
And this is a first reading only. However, just for the public's sake, this is for designing these water lines, and it is in three parts: J.R. Will to Eastern Road, J.R. Will on Wooster to Eastern Road, Brentwood, and getting some water to the fire station on Haventown. Residents will not be required to tie in. It will be an optional thing. That's the good thing about water. The only way they're going to force you to tie in is if your wells are condemned by the health district, and then they're the ones going to be pushing that. This is basically making loops, and it makes sure that residents do maintain water supply if there's a break in the line somewhere. And I did have a question on Brentwood allotment. I'm hoping that you can answer it for me, since Mr. Markey or Mr. Fowler in here. It appears there's already a water line on Eastern, looking at the maps that were given to us, on Easton along Brentwood, and it actually goes to Lakeland, where they're talking about bringing 261 to Lakeland. Is that right,
I don't know the answer to that, I'm sorry.
Mister? You're shaking your head, so.
I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
Find out, we'll have another,
Looking at the maps, that's what it looks like, that there's a line there, and why would you stop at Lakeland then, or is it Lakeland? I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that is Lakeland that comes out down there.
And that's right at the edge of the Brentwood.
sure. Yeah, I can find the answer for that, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know that's what the map shows, but if we could just figure that out.
Sure.
And let us know. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify some of that. Okay, I'm done, thank you.
All right, ordinance number 12, 2019. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. I introduced ordinance 12, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with Engineering Associates Incorporated for professional engineering services in connection with the Eastern Road waterline extension in the city.
This is for the first reading only. Again, for clarity for the people out there, this is for observation of construction when the lines are actually installed, not to exceed $67,000. And I had a question on that too that probably can't get answered, but I'll ask it anyway. Is this just for the water lines on Eastern Eastern to get observed, or is this for all of them? We don't know.
You talking about for all the roadway improvements plus the water line? I believe this is just the water line.
But is it just for Eastern, or does it include the other two as well? We don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
We need to find out, I guess. Sorry.
Thank you. Anything else on that one, Ms. Whipke?
No, I'm
Anyone else?
done.
Okay. Ordinance number 13, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
Thank you again. I introduce ordinance 13, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with Engineering Associates Incorporated for professional engineering services in connection with the design of State Route 261 Waterline Loop in the city.
Thank you. This is first reading only, and again, just for the residents' sake, this is for design, not to exceed $88,000. And I believe some of this is going to be going through more than just next year. But that's another, it's the 5-year plan is what I'm wondering, looking at the map, so there's another question for you. And ODOT, I guess, is going to be contributing some money on this one. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other comments from anyone regarding that ordinance? Ordinance number 14, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
I introduce ordinance 14, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with Environmental Design Group for professional engineering services in connection with the New Park Drive roadway improvement.
Thank you. This is for also first reading only, and this is for observation of the construction to take place, not to exceed $75,000. And we're looking to get a grant from the OPWC and assessing the businesses as we move forward on this. And we have to have this in by July 1st, but we can still go to 3 readings. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ordinance number 15, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
Thanks. I introduce ordinance 15, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with GPD Group for professional engineering services in connection with the design of sidewalk improvements on Easton Road.
First reading only. I wanted to point out last week when I introduced this ordinance, I actually called it Eastern Road. It's not. It's definitely on Easton, and not to exceed $29,700, hopefully including Greenwich, but we don't know if we have enough money to do that or not. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding ordinance 15? It is now 7:15. We have some public hearings scheduled for 7:15, so I will call the public hearings to order regarding a number of renewals of agricultural districts. So we will begin with letter A under the public hearings. I now declare the public hearing convened on resolution number 20, 2019. Resolution number 20, 2019 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3296 Clubside Drive, Norton, Ohio, in an agricultural district. Would the clerk of council please certify the legal notice was published in the Barberton Herald on January 31st, 2019?
I so certify.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer.
Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Whipke?
as a council member and as a private citizen, 4624 Albert Avenue, I'm going to do it as a blanket. I'm always for the agriculturals. I approve all of them. We'll always advocate for them.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the renewal? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. I now declare the public hearing closed on Resolution 2019. I now declare the public hearing convened on Resolution number 21, 2019. Resolution number 21, 2019 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3856 Greenwich Road, Norton, Ohio, in an agricultural district. Would the clerk please certify the legal notice was published in the Barberton Herald on January 31st, 2019?
I so certify.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal for the third and final time? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the renewal? I now declare the public hearing closed on Resolution number 21, 2019. I now declare the public hearing convened on Resolution number 22, 2019. Resolution number 22, 2019 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3456 South Hametown Road, Norton, Ohio, in an agricultural district. Would the clerk please certify the legal notice was published in the Barberton Herald on January 31st, 2019?
I so certify.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? I now declare the public hearing closed on Resolution number 22, 2019. I now declare the public hearing convened on Resolution number 23, 2019. Resolution 23, 2019 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 4065 Johnson Road, Norton, Ohio, in an agricultural district. Would the clerk please certify the legal notice was published in the Barberton Herald on January 31st, 2019?
I so certify.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. And I see Mr. Adams is here. Did you want to speak, Mr. Adams? If you could just come on up here and...
I may have misunderstood you, but I believe that address is wrong. 4065 Swain Drive. But the farmland is at 59 Johnson Road.
That's what I have, Joe, is 4065 Johnson Road.
Yeah, that's what it shows on the application. Oh. So the owner's address is 4065 Swain, but the location of the property is 4065
Right.
Johnson?
Right.
Okay.
Well, both properties were on it.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I see. Yeah, because one parcel number is 4602101, and one parcel is 4607075. And so this would cover both of those, correct?
I don't have the application, but that, yeah, assuming that's correct and,
And I see that both of those parcels are listed in Section 1. So,
Mr. Comer, can you, was the legal ad
I was
include,
gonna
did it
say.
include the Johnson Road property address? Can you find out, just to make sure?
thank you.
Yeah.
On,
We're going to check and make sure, Mr. Adams.
Okay.
On the application, Joe, it does say 4065 Johnson Road, location of property, and two parcel numbers,
Right.
and lot 71 and 4065 Swain Drive as his address.
Right. And Mr. Adams, you wanted both the property on Swain and the property on Johnson to
Yes, sir.
be placed in agricultural
Yes, sir.
districts? All right, we're going to have Mr. Markey here take a quick look at. Carrie, could you give him this so he can take a look at that?
We did list both, in the legal notice, we listed only the Johnson Road address, but we listed both parcel numbers.
Okay.
So anyone would have noticed that these two properties that located at the two parcel numbers would be
Okay.
included in the application to be considered tonight, so
And
I'm
so
okay moving forward.
We're okay
based
with
on
that, okay.
Thank you.
And the total number of acres.
Mr. Adams, you said the address was 4359 Johnson, correct?
4359, yeah.
Just, I think that's important.
That's the farm. Yeah.
So the farm on Johnson is 4359.
59, yeah.
And the address on Swain is 4065.
Yes.
Yeah, let me,
But we're going to look up the parcel numbers, because I think if the parcel numbers,
Right.
we would be okay.
Right.
I just want to make sure that we get your property in the
Great,
district.
thank you, I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
maybe go to the next one
Oh.
while I'm verifying that.
That's
and then
fine.
We'll come
Absolutely.
back to this
Okay.
one. Yeah.
And that one was what, 23?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, while we're looking up 23, we're going to move on to the public hearing regarding resolution number 24, 2019. I now declare the public hearing convened on resolution number 24, 2019. Resolution number 24, 2019 is a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 4903 South Hametown Road, Norton, Ohio, in an agricultural district. Will the clerk please certify the legal notice was published in the Barberton Herald on January 31st, 2019?
I so certify.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? I now declare the public hearing closed on resolution number 24, 2019. I'll take just a few moments here while we take a look at 23, 2019.
When you're ready,
Yes, Mr. Markey, please.
So, in looking at the parcel numbers that were included in the legal notice, the first parcel links to that 4359 Johnson Road, and then the second parcel links to 4065 Swain.
Okay.
So regardless of the typographical error on the address, the parcel numbers were noted.
Okay.
It's not ideal, but I think it's enough to say people would have notice of which properties were to be included, so we can move forward.
All right, great, thank you.
Yep.
And I didn't notice anyone coming forward at this point yet to speak against it, so we'll keep going. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. And again, this is on resolution 23, 2019. Can I have that sheet back when you're the one?
23.
23.
I'll keep the legal ad. He wants the application.
Mr. Adams, did you have anything else you wanted to say, sir? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak for the said renewal? Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? Please give your name and address to the stenographer. Is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the said renewal? I now declare the public hearing closed. And I think we were only through 23, right?
That was 24.
Yes.
Oh,
24.
24. You already did that.
we already did that one. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
we
did
did
them
them
all.
all.
Yep.
And I hereby declare the public hearing closed. All right. We will move on then to ordinance number 16, 2019. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. I introduce ordinance 16, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to authorize the administrative officer to enter into an agreement with GPD Group for professional engineering services in connection with the design of stormwater improvements to Worcester Road.
Thank you. This is first reading only, and for the public's information, this is for design work not to exceed $27,500, be coming out of the 440 Street Improvement Fund, and this is basically to make sure that we get the water messes cleaned up down there so that they can fix the road correctly, and I believe we need to have this out. We can't do anything with it until July anyway. We're waiting on OPWC grant.
Right.
Thank you, I'm done.
Thank you. Ordinance number 17, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
Thanks. Again. I introduce ordinance 17, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of road salt from Cargill Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. At this time, I motion to waive the second and third readings on ordinance 17, 2019.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to waive the second and third readings on ordinance number 17. Is there any discussion regarding waiver?
It's wintertime, it just allows us to move forward with this quicker to access any salt that we may need.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. It's just for 2,000 tons of salt. We're paying $79.82 a ton. And it's a final authorization to actually purchase salt that we had tried to get earlier and could not.
Anything further?
Nope, that's it.
Will the clerk call the roll on the motion for waiver?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Thank you. I now motion to adopt ordinance 17, 2019.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 17, 2019. Is there any further discussion? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance number 18, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I introduce ordinance 18, 2019 for its first reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of an agreement with UBS Financial Services Incorporated for financial advisory services.
First reading only. Again, for the public's information, this is not to exceed $16,000. Used to be that our financial services came from Morgan Stanley. They are no longer taking care of the municipalities, and we went with UBS, and by doing so, we're already looking at almost $1,000 a year in savings just in the fees. Thank you, I'm done.
Thank you. Ordinance number 19, 2019, Ms. Whipke.
I introduce ordinance 19, 2019 for its first reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of turnout gear for the Division of Fire and EMS at a cost not to exceed $18,125 and declaring an emergency.
This is basically something that we do, not every year, but we rotate the equipment for the fire department, and this is either the last year or the next to last year. Do we know yet? This is the fourth year, so we have one more year to do this, and that'll bring them up to date. And then after that, we'll have a couple years off anyway that we won't have to worry about it. At this time, I motion to waive the second and third readings on ordinance 19, 2019.
I'll second.
Motion and second to waive the second and third readings. Is there any discussion regarding waiver? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
At this time, I motion to adopt ordinance 19, 2019.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 19, 2019. Is there any further discussion regarding the ordinance? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. Towesley?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. We're going to take care of the next few resolutions as a whole on a consent. So resolutions number 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, 2019. Mr. Gaynor?
Yes, I'd offer all five, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for their first reading and waive a second and third.
So we would have the clerk read it first. Read all of them first, please.
Yes.
Resolution number 020-2019, a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located at 3296 Clubside Drive in an agricultural district. Resolution number 021-2019, a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located 3856 Greenwich Road in an agricultural district. Resolution number 022-2019, a resolution to approve the renewal of for placement of farmland located 3456 South Hametown Road in an agricultural district. Resolution number 023-2019, a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located, I need the new,
Read it the way it is.
4065 Johnson Road in an agricultural district. Resolution number 024-2019, a resolution to approve the renewal for placement of farmland located 4903 Hametown Road in an agricultural district.
Mr. Markey, before we move forward any further, since the title to Resolution 23 contains what appears to be just a typographical error, is that something that can just be corrected before it's signed by myself and the mayor?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, all right. All right, and then I believe at this point we were going to do a waiver, Mr. Gaynor?
Yes, waiver for second and third readings.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for waiver of the second and third readings on Resolutions 20, 2019 through 24, 2019. Is there any discussion regarding waiver? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
And I'll make a motion to adopt all five of them.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, 2019. Is there any discussion regarding the resolutions?
That's 4359 Johnson Road, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what we had said it was.
Okay.
4359 Johnson Road and 465
4065
Swain Drive.
Plain Drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Ordinance 25, 2019. Mr. Gaynor.
Yes, I'd like to offer 25, 2019 for its first reading.
An ordinance to initiate an amendment to the zoning code of the city by adding chapter 1287.
Then I'd like to waive the second and third readings.
Second.
I have a motion and second to waive the second and third readings of ordinance number 25, 2019. Is there any discussion regarding waiver?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Towsley.
Just like in the first of the meeting, I just want to point out that this goes to planning. And
Right.
They have 60 days to act, and then it is brought back to us.
Correct, yeah. We're not changing anything with the code at this point. We're just
Right.
starting that time clock moving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion regarding waiver? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 25, 2019. Any further discussion? Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Gaynor?
Yes.
Mr. Carratt?
Yes.
Mr. McClone?
Yes.
Mr. Towsley?
Yes.
Ms. Whipke?
Yes.
Mr. Pelot?
Yes.
Mr. Kernan?
Yes. Under introduction of prior legislation, ordinance number 5, 2019. Ms. Whipke?
Thank you, Mr. President. I introduce ordinance 5, 2019 for its second reading. Ask clerk to read it, please.
An ordinance to amend section 408.04 of the codified ordinances of the city of Norton, Ohio.
Second reading only.
Thank you, Ms. Whipke. Resolution number 7, 2019. Mr. McGlone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer resolution number 7, 2019
for its second reading and ask the clerk to read it, please.
A resolution confirming the reappointment of Sandy Crisant to a new 3-year term as the Ward 2 representative on the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals of the City of Norton and declaring an emergency.
Second reading only.
Thank you, Mr. McGlone. Public service announcements, Mr. Messner? Mr. Markey?
None at this time, thank you.
If there's nothing else to come before council, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
A little late there.
Well, that's a record.
Still got all these numbers in front of my